Well, Nyck, it's good to reconvene here at the Mahindra headquarters. We have the season coming up, season 11 of Formula E, which we'll get onto in a second. But before we look at that and we talk about the new car, how do you reflect on your first season back in Formula E after moving away and coming back into the championship with a little less experience that we kind of discussed last year and jumping into the Gen 3 car?
Yeah, it was a new, interesting experience. Obviously, I didn't have a year under my belt like most others did in the new Gen 3 car. I think the racing has changed quite significantly, and probably it will change further this season with the potential fast charging that will be introduced, the four-wheel drive in attack mode. So further changes, but I would say that the peloton style of racing was the biggest difference and the biggest, let's say, change I had to get used to. But besides that, I really enjoyed the work together with the team. I'm very happy in this environment, and it's a great group of people. I think there was a positive line of progress. Obviously, Edo's pole in Berlin was great, which I was supporting on live timing a few kilometers down the road. So no, it's been a good year. I think we finished it well on a high together in London. So we knew it was going to be a challenging season. We inherited that package, and we tried to extract the maximum we could and improve the foundations of the team, the car, and our operations. So I think it was a let's say a fruitful season.
I think when you can show progress, that's what you need to be doing. You were very honest at the start of the season about what you're hoping for. And for you and Edo to both finish fourth, I think was your best result for both of you. And obviously there were other highs throughout the season. That's ended that season on a high coming into this season. And we have the new Gen 3 Evo car. Is podiums where you're at this season? Are we there yet when it comes to the Mahindra package?
I don't know. Obviously, there are a lot of changes this year. Some teams will have an upgrade in powertrain as well. I'm not only speaking about obviously everyone bringing in Evo, but also some teams will get a different, let's say, manufacturer. So I don't know. I don't know what the others did. We will have to see where we are on track, I guess, in Valencia, but more importantly in Mexico. We feel and we see the necessary improvements of our package and efficiency. So it will definitely be better than what we had. But then on track, it's obviously about executing on the day and trying to do the best possible race we can. And of course, we hope to move into that direction. But at this point, what can I say about it?
Of course. Have you had much experience in the new car yet?
Yes, I had one test day. I'm traveling to Spain tomorrow again, and then Edo and I are both in the car on what day are we today? On Thursday.
Right.
So yeah, I had a little bit of a feel for it. The four-wheel drive is very, very nice and exciting. It's definitely, it just gives you a little bit more of a, let's say a sensation that you can push the limits a little bit more. I'm looking forward to see where we are when we're on track with our competitors.
With the four-wheel drive capabilities, that's going to change attack mode this season. Now, attack mode, it felt last season and maybe a couple of seasons that it wasn't really having the effect it was meant to in terms of the racing. Do you think now with the capabilities you'll get from attack mode that will change?
I do, but again, I don't know in which way that would influence the strategy to that extent. But of course, you can imagine that the attack mode is going to be much more powerful, and it will have a bigger, let's say, it will give you a bigger advantage to gain positions and to overtake. So I'm sure it will play a role in the changes to the tactics and the strategy of the race.
You've mentioned the peloton style of racing that we saw last year. Do you think that's going to change this year, or are you predicting that will still be a big part of the style of Formula E driving?
I think it will still be a big part of this era of Formula E. It's just the nature of the of the car. I guess it's drag sensitive, and also with regenerating on the front axle, arriving with higher speeds, it's just hard to mitigate the effect. But hopefully with the attack mode, the fast charging, different tires, the effect will become a little less important.
Let's look at the new car then, because Mahindra have just launched this new car for this year. What do you make of it from an aesthetic point of view? We obviously know what the car can do. We know that it's the fastest accelerating car and fastest accelerating, I think, single-seater car in a world championship. But when you look at this car, I know it's not the be-all and end-all for a driver, but when you're standing next to it, you're doing promotional stuff, you need a car to look good, right?
And I think she does. Yesterday evening was the first time I got to see her, I think she looks really cool. I like the design. It looks racy, aggressive. I truly think the design is nice.
And you say her. Is a racing car always a her?
I don't have any names. But I think it's better than an it.
Okay.
Yeah.
It has more of a personality.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I like that. So when we look at the season, we obviously start earlier this time. We start kind of how Formula E used to be across 2 different years, and it's Sao Paulo where we begin. We then move on to Mexico, and then we have Saudi Arabia, and then we have this kind of elephant in the room, this gap that's happened because TBD, that was on the original release schedule, doesn't exist. As a driver, is it quite frustrating to have such a big gap in a season?
I'm just very grateful that I have some other racing alongside as well. Otherwise, we are talking about, I mean, you came in the room asking about my off season, but then the off season would become, quite big. I'm just glad I can continue to race.
But in all seriousness, when you are doing other championships alongside Formula E, when the season ends and when we have this gap, it must actually be good for a driver to continue to be racing other cars, because you're never really switching off.
No, I fully agree, and I think it's good to continue to practice my skills and to continue to challenge myself, to be involved, and be involved, to talk and to live the sport we love. I'm lucky.
You are. I know all the drivers do talk, and there's probably a WhatsApp group or some kind of chat going on. What is the general vibe about this gap, though? Because I think the perception's been a little bit tricky because it happened in season 10 and it's happening again in season 11, and it feels like momentum is the thing that will be lost.
I'm not really. Actually, I archived the channel. I don't really. I read sometimes, but I'm not really active. So I don't really know what the general feeling is. I don't know if I need to have an opinion about it. Of course, it would have been nice if it wasn't there, but equally, it's out of my control. So we focus on the performance and on our job.
Who's the most fun in the chat? I know you've archived it, but who's dropping the most banter in there?
I honestly don't know.
You don't know? No. You have actually archived it. I like this.
Yeah.
I reckon it'll be Antonio. But anyway, we'll move on. Finally, obviously the season is coming up. 4th place was the best finish this past season. Going into this new season, what are you hoping for? I know we'd kind of touched on you're not quite sure what's achievable, but until we get out there, what are you hopeful for when we come to the end of season 11?
We are hopeful, and we obviously are hoping for the best. But what that means in terms of result, I don't know. I mean, I can dream, I can invent something, but it doesn't really make sense because it's not based on anything. So we'll see. Okay,
if you had to win one race next season, which race would you pick?
Monaco.
It has to be Monaco, right?
Yes.
Both?
If I can win both, I would sign for it. Yes, of course.
Okay, well, look, we'll hopefully see you lift the trophy both times to the doubleheader in Monaco this coming season. Nyck, thanks for chatting to me. Best of luck this season, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the new Gen 3 Evo.
Thank you very much.